It is 3 o'clock in the afternoon in South Africa, but 9 o'clock in the morning where my guest is. I guess I have to say good morning and good afternoon. My name is Sibusiso Njeza, and this is another episode of the Choralist Conversations. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're watching these conversations for the first time, a warm welcome to you. And if you've been part of the family following all the conversations, welcome back. Feel free to engage by leaving a comment as we continue with our conversation. I will read your comments as we go. And please don't forget to like the page and follow the page and the conversations on Instagram. That is at Sibusiso Njeza. That's my handle there. And on Facebook at The Choralist. And also on YouTube, Sibusiso Njeza, The Choralist. This is where you can follow all the conversations, and don't forget to set a reminder so that you are able to get notifications, and that's where you can also follow the past conversations. My guest this afternoon or morning, because she keeps reminding me that it's in the morning where she is. She was born in Garankuwa. She is a soprano and opera singer. She's from Gauteng province here in South Africa. Apekaya, we know her as a soloist from the Gauteng Choristers, a South African choir based in Johannesburg, conducted by Usidwal Mhlongo. She is a graduate of the South African College of Music at the University of Cape Town. She's currently at the University of Michigan, furthering her studies in opera. She has become a recognizable brand. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome Goitsemang Lehobye. I've been practicing. Yes, I've been practicing. I hope I got it right this time.
You did. Good morning, and thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm okay. I'm doing great. And how are you?
I'm all right. I mean, that's what we say. For as long as we're safe from coronavirus, because
that's
no
all
one
is. If you can wake up and you can breathe, you are okay.
Yes. That is important. This coronavirus is not sparing anyone. You're rich, you're poor, you're dark, you're white, you're pink. No, it doesn't matter.
It's for us all,
it just
even though we don't want it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of corona, we've been on lockdown since end of March here in South Africa, and every now and then there's this strategy of changing levels. Like we're on level 2 now in South Africa, and that actually means that there are some economic activities that are open to operate. Others are still on lockdown. Like we still cannot have concerts or gatherings of more than 50 people. So how is it in America? How have you been?
I mean, we've been okay. I mean, I've been okay personally. We also have levels which are going the direct opposite of what your levels are. So we are now on level 4. We keep going up when you keep going down. Which means some of the things are also open. You know, schools tried to open, even though some of them inquired more cases and then had to close back. And so we are also, still juggling levels and getting to know what to do in terms of this virus.
So going up means more activities are being open, like we are going down and doing more. Okay. No, that makes sense. And I mean,
everything was completely closed with level 1, but now it keeps going up. But our governor here, because different governors of the different states are the ones that control these levels going up and down. So each and every governor is doing what they want, basically, with their state. and our governor has been quite strict with us and changing these levels.
Oh, that's nice, because people are dying in the states where governors don't take this thing seriously. And of course, even here at home, even though there are some things that are still not allowed, but we see people, actually doing those things. Others, it's just because they just want to have fun. Others are defying whatever it is that is out there to protect people. So we just keep praying that we don't lose the people we love, even though we continue losing those. Anyway, now let's go back to where it all began. You are from Ekharankua. Never been to Kharankua, so I don't know how it is there. But I'm always interested, to know where the people come from, because I do have a belief that sometimes when we are asked about where we come from, more especially in relation to what we do, musicians, I think sometimes we sell our places short. It's like we got the bug of music somewhere else, not where we were born. So I want to find out, how is the culture at Kharankua, and how did that culture, inspire Goitsemang as we know her today?
I won't lie to you. South Africa is a singing country. So Kharankua, it's just a township there in Gauteng, and growing up, there were a lot of activities going around, and there were a lot of choirs, there were dramas and things of that nature. And so I think we had things that we could choose to do according to what we loved doing, So music arrived to me because I come from a very musical family. So everybody at home kind of sings, they sang at school choirs. And so my uncle was part of a choir called the King's Choir. And he used to sing. And I used to also see him on TV, on Bob TV. We still had a thing called Bob TV. And that was quite interesting for me. I loved that.
Now you want me to ask you, how old are you?
Well, don't ask that. I'm as young as you think I am. So anyway, I was a little baby. I literally started singing when I was like 3. I would go to choir rehearsals with him. Yeah. Sometimes when my mom is not around, I sing with him, I go with him, and I listen to this music. And that's literally how I fell in love with music, listening to him sing in the choir. And apparently one day I shocked them because I just started singing the solo part of the song, and they didn't even know that I knew it. But from sitting there and listening, they were like, oh my God, and that's really how I got music.
So you went for the solo part and just skipped everything else.
Of course. I'm not even sure what the song was. I know they used to sing Psalm 124. That song was one of our favorites, but there was also Snanapo Mamula. Apparently, I used to like singing those things, and yeah.
Wow.
So I did go
someone likes your response to this, as young as you think I am.
Yes, Nuna.
I'll take that. I'll take that answer. That's okay. So I guess that's part of how you were introduced to choral music in a way. Yeah, and how did that love develop into opera music? Because that was not part of. In fact, if you look at how things are in South Africa, not currently, maybe before 2001, because I think that's when schools were introduced to opera arias, and then it became the culture to sing opera. But before that, it was only choral music. So how did you discover opera in particular?
So when I then grew up, obviously, and I went to school, and in my primary school I sang in a choir, and that's where I actually had my first real solo in a choir when I finished my primary school. And people were just amazed by how beautiful or how big or how natural the singing voice came, because even in the choir, my teacher used to say, guys, listen to Goitsemang, sing, the whole choir must sing and Goitsemang must sing soprano alone. And I would sing with the whole choir. And it was just because of, I had just been listening to singing, and I guess I knew how it was done, or I thought I did. Because once you grow up and you start learning, you realize you don't know as much as you thought you did. So when I went to my middle school, I was very sad because there was no music, there was no choir, there was nothing. And so I was forced to do some sports that I did not really like doing. And then when I got to my high school, there was a choir. There was actually a little bit of an argument between my uncles, who the other one wanted me to go to another school and the other one wanted me to go to the another school because the other school had music and he knew I loved music, and the other one wanted me to go to the science because of, he is a master of maths and science. And so it was an argument until I chose the music school, and I joined the choir when I got there. And that's how I was introduced to opera. So when I got to school, I went to the choir and sang in the choir. And there was this wonderful girl, Lehobye Bisong, who was in the choir, who I used to listen to the whole time.
So you went to the same school?
Yeah, we did. We did.
Oh, wow.
I used to look at her and think, oh my God, and so one day the choir conductor, Mr. Some and Mr. Mukreti, they were choosing people and they were like, you go in that room, you go in that room. It was people with bigger voices, I guess, or whatever, which they thought had the potential to sing solos. And I was chosen, and that's how I started singing opera.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. Yeah. So yeah. now I believe you are as young as you think I think you are.
Of course I am.
If you two went to the same school, so
we did. We went to the same school.
You are.
She from between her and watching an episode of Imizwilili where the Black Tie Ensemble was singing, and there was Ulavline Madumo who was singing, who they said, this is a soprano from Garankuwa. I said, there's somebody that sings like this from where I am? This cannot be the thing, this cannot be true. And so between her, Loveline Madumo, and Lehobye, that's where I got inspired that, maybe I want to sing. Maybe I can do this, And they, Lehobye was very, Lehobye was very helpful, because she had been at the high school prior to me. She started her middle school there, and I only came in for my high school. So she already had been singing, and so she welcomed me and showed me this is how we do it,
Great. So is this you listening to Black Tie Ensemble? Is this where now you fell in love with opera and thought, okay, this is what I want to do? Is that when you discovered it as a career?
I did not really discover it as a career. I liked what I heard and I liked the sound, and that's what we did at school. But my intentions were always that when I finished school, I was going to become an accountant. I never thought of music as a career path for me at that time. It only happened later when we sang for the Tirisano competitions and we kept winning, and we got to Black Tie Ensemble, invited us to go for an audition. and they took me, and I was like, okay, maybe this is what I want to do, because at that time I had already fallen in love, and I was like, maybe here is an opportunity availing itself to me before I was even stressed about having to apply for school and do this accounting stuff, you know. And so I just took a leap of faith and I said, okay, let's see where this takes me.
So this means you started at the black tie before going to UCT.
I started at the black tie before going to UCT. I was in the black tie incubator scheme for 3 years. And then after that, I became a soloist, part of the ensemble, and I sang with them for a few years.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. Now, how did you get to UCT? Because you wanted to do accounting, and I think many singers wanted to do something else, or musicians wanted to do something else that was considered normal.
Yeah, so I was in the black tie ensemble. That's where I worked with the late Unathi Mtikhaga and Nonhlanhla, and so
Apologies there. The internet is attacking me this afternoon. I don't know what's wrong. But I hope you can now hear me and we can continue with the conversation. Let me get Goitsemang back. Hi, once again.
Hi.
I'm back.
Thank you.
Wow, the internet is just playing tricks on me. But before I was thrown off my own stream, we were talking about you starting with the black ties before going to UCT, and I was saying, of course, most singers or musicians start off as they want to do accounting, law, and all these other careers, but then you then decide, I want to do music. So how did you make that decision?
I think the decision was made for me by the events that happened, being accepted at the Black Tie Ensemble that just led me to music, and I had always wanted to study something. I just did not have a way of, I just did not know at that point where I needed to go and what I needed to really do to be able to go study. And so that's why when I met Professor Kamal Khan, when he said, hey, come to UCT and study, I was like, okay, the opportunity has availed itself and I get to study and actually really have a qualification. So that's why I jumped at the chance.
Oh, wow. So you met Kamal Khan before going to UCT?
I met Kamal Khan, yes, when he came to Johannesburg to conduct the concert of, was it South African, the company Unati, the late Unati Mtikhaga and Nontlantla.
Opera South Africa.
Yes, that one. So he came to conduct that a concert or something with us, and that was the first time I had a masterclass with him, and I had the opportunity to work with him. Then he said, "Hey, you are very talented. Have you thought about studying?" And I said, "Well, I've been with the Black Ties. I did this, and I learned piano, and I learned I learned this and that." And he said, "So what qualification do you have?" And I said, "I don't really have any formal paper." And he said, "I think you should go to UCT and study." And I said, "Okay." So he literally paved the way, organized everything that I go get to UCT and study.
Now, this is one other thing that interests me.
Mm.
And my two friends, Sipho Fubesi and Given Kosi, they also started out like the similar way, because they started with the CTP, that choral training program at the Cape Town Opera, before going to UCT. And in our conversations, like I wanted to know, how did that help, for them? It actually paved the way, to have started there in that choral training program at Cape Town Opera. And some people who went straight to BMAS because opera, were struggling, because we don't have music as a subject at school, so it becomes a challenge. So did that help you as well, starting with the Black Ties and then going to UCT to actually do a formal qualification?
It helped a great deal. I cannot emphasize how much it helped, because by the time I got to UCT, I felt like I was more advanced, because I knew so much. I already had grade 5 theory, so when people that were coming into school came in to do foundation, I just started with my first year. I had done theory with UNISA. I had done stage skills. I had done acting. I had played the piano. I had more experience than everyone. And so that's how I ended up. And also I had done 2 roles at that point. That's how I got to UCT in 2011 and sang my first role, big role.
Wow, the same year, first year.
My first year when I got there, I sang Mimi in Lehobye.
Oh, that's the one I saw. Yeah,
Yeah,
I saw that one. I didn't think you were a first year.
I was a first year. I had just literally came in.
Yeah, on paper. Otherwise, in
Yeah.
terms of experience, you were not a first year at all. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's interesting. Maybe you would not have an answer to this one, because I'm interested to know, why are this program not there? Maybe it's an issue of funding. With the Cape Town Opera, for instance, here in Cape Town, there's the CTP is no longer there, and I'm not sure about the Thai ensemble. What's going on there?
Luckily for me, I left Black Tides when I, went to UCT, and we were already at the point where we were struggling with money, and I felt like maybe God was just taking me out to the next phase of my life as things were going a little down. And then when Marcus DeSando came back in and playing the Gauteng opera, so that Black Tide became Gauteng Opera. And from then, I know that they had been struggling financially, and that's how just everything just went down from there.
Oh, I've been separating the two companies all along.
Black Tie Ensemble.
Gauteng Opera.
Black Tie Ensemble is where Abo Loveline and Luet and Bongiwe Mazala, Linda Zita, those people that I had an opportunity to work with were part of Black Tie, which became Gauteng Opera. And some of them stayed and some of them were forced to leave, as there already was not enough money, so they kept whoever they could keep, and that's how things changed.
Okay, I think we're going to come back to this particular topic, because I from the outside, because I'm not an opera singer, or I don't work there, but I see how many singers the country is producing. But each year we're seeing the cases of like the Gauteng Opera. Opera South Africa didn't actually pick up, and in the Eastern Cape, I don't know of any professional opera company across the country. But we continue producing all this. So we'll come back to it maybe towards the end of our conversation. So you studied at UCT, and then you left UCT in 2017, right?
I
did. To Michigan.
Yep.
Yeah. How did that happen for you? Going to study overseas.
So in 2012, as I was studying, I was now a second year at the University of Cape Town. Professor Khan invited Professor Daniel Washington to come give master classes, of which apparently it's something that he had been doing with Professor George Shirley. And they came, and Professor Washington worked with me, and I just loved the work. I felt like a star. I was like, oh my God, I can do this and that, and he also said, so when you finish your undergrad, what are you thinking about for grad school? And I said, I don't know. I hadn't thought that far. And he said, maybe you should think about studying at the University of Michigan. And I said, hey, I'll think about it, And so he came year after year to give master classes, and I kept working with him, and I really, really enjoyed the work. So by the time when I finished, when I was almost finished with my diploma, then I decided I wanted to make it an honors, because I had to go to be able to go to a school for grad school, I had to have a degree. So then I did my honors. And at that time, I applied for the University of Michigan, Royal College of Music, Manners College, and all the three places accepted me. But then I was forced to make a decision of where am I going? And because already the relationship with Professor Washington was already established, and I enjoyed working with him, I loved the work, then I just, the choice was just very easy for me. That's how I decided, okay, this is where I'm going. And so 2017, I came here and I started my master's in voice performance.
That's great. As you keep telling me or narrating your story, you said after your matric, you're like, okay, now I'll see. I haven't really thought of what I want to do. And now you finished your undergrad at UCT and you hadn't thought of what else you wanted to do. Is that you being patient or not stressing yourself about what's going to happen tomorrow?
I think it has to do with me being a Christian. I am a believer of faith. And so I was reminded by a friend of mine who said, Goitsemang, every time I stressed about what was the next phase of my life, I stress about it. I cannot sit and not stress. Even now, I'm thinking, what is the next phase of my life? And somebody said, remember, you finished school, black tie came in. Just God took you and put you there. And then black tie it was time for you to go. God took you and put you at UCT. And when time was about to end with UCT, God took you and put you in America. So why would I not believe that even now, God, when my time ends in America, God is going to take me and put me somewhere else?
That's a very good attitude to have, to always know that things are going to work out. Despite the current circumstances. One thing that stands out according to my observation, something that stands out about you is that you've premiered a number of new works. I remember in 2015 you premiered a new song cycle by Ubongani Ndodana Brin. You did Blood of Mine from the 4:30 operas in the same year. In fact, it was end of November when you did 4:30 operas, and then in December you did that piece by Bongani. And where you are now, you've been part of contemporary works like The Difficult of Crossing a Field by David Lang and A Dinner at 8 by William Balcom. How do you prepare those new roles? Because there's not much to go with. I mean, there's no reference. How do you prepare a new role and make it feel like it's been there?
My friend Louise Howlett calls me the queen of new music. It's very, very difficult. She says, queen, all these new things you. And it's difficult. It's really difficult to not have reference, but it's also great because it gives you the opportunity to use the tools that you have. We have so many tools. We go to school, we study, you get to learn piano, you get to learn these languages, you get to do your theory, you learn these notes and everything. So once you are given a score of something new, it's great because you can make it whatever you want to make it, obviously with the guidance of what the composer wants and what the librettist is saying, but you are able to make it your own thing and not feel like you're copying anyone or you're being compared to anyone. You have your own take, and I think that's great.
And the lesson, I guess, is for the young singers out there, if you have this area that you need to learn, don't just go to the internet and listen and then memorize whatever it is that you're hearing there. Try to work on it, work on the text, work on the music, bang those notes, listen to it, make it your own. Don't just mimic whatever you heard from the internet. That's basically the lesson. And by doing that, the music feels or sounds new to those that are listening because it really becomes your own. Utembela Vogwana is saying something here. Let's see the comment. God will put you in a Demas program. Goitsemang.
Hey,
What do you
you.
think of that?
It's been in my plans since I completed my master's in 2018. It was a thing that was on my mind. It was a thing that was offered to me, and it's a thing that I'm still thinking about. Now I'm doing I'm finishing up my specialist, so I'm specializing now in voice performance. I got my master's, and then you get the postmaster's course called the specialist in voice performance, and that's what I'm completing this December. And so there's been talks of the DMAS, get your DMA, get your PhD, sis, kind of a thing. But for now, we don't know. We will see.
Your famous line. Please go for it. Go for
You
it.
know,
Go
we
for
will
it.
see. My famous line. If God wills it, then I don't have anything to do.
No, it will happen. It has to happen.
Yep.
We have said it. We put it out there in the universe now. It has to happen. So on Friday, this last Friday, on the 21st, yeah, that was 21st, we were listening to this conversation, an online webinar by Black Research Network. And the topic was Black Experiences in Opera, Perspectives from South Africa, Europe, and the US. So I know you've done quite a number of opera roles, from Don Giovanni, La Traviata, La Boheme, and many others, including the new ones that you've been learning over the years. My question is there any role that you, as a Black woman in opera, that you can actually relate to, that speaks to you, speaks to who you are, maybe among the ones you've done? Is there any?
You know, I think I love opera because I think almost all the roles that I've done, every little part of it says something to me. You know, it's something that I relate to in life, whether love, whether turmoil, whether whatever, politics or things like that. And so most of the times it's just so nice to relive the experience being somebody else, you know, see how people tackle things or tackled things in those ways. And even though it's not it's reality, how one can apply it in their real life, or what one can learn from those people, those composers, you know. So there's a lot of them that I pick up something from.
So, okay, yeah, I think I lost you there, just at the end. Is there one that you can refer to? I'm asking you this because there was this part of the conversation where they were speaking about roles that would require a particular race, and there was a view that even if a role would require a Black man or a white man, or if one has the voice, that person should be given the role and sing the role. But other people have a different view. And there was another question that to say, but there are not enough operas that accommodate Black people. It's only a few. So that's why I'm asking which one specifically that you can think of, you know.
So you see, I'm struggling with the answer because of, for me personally, opera is my escape from reality. You know, it's something that I do I love doing it because of I get to take on roles and do things that I would not do in my comfort zone. And so I'm of the view of, yes, it's great to have our own operas. It's great to have our own stories that we can tell. But, you know, there aren't enough, yes, operas that are for people of color, Black people. So if you say that Black people should only sing their operas and white people should sing their operas, I'm gonna have a problem because of I envision myself singing more than Pogiembe, singing more than Aida. You know, it's things that I want to sing, but I want to sing Butterfly too. I want to sing Tosca too, you know, but then does that say that, you know, if I'm so of, I need to be black to be singing this, am I going to forfeit not singing all the other things that I like singing? You know, so that's why I struggle with that. As I said, in many different operas, I grab something that I relate to, you know, with those characters.
No, that's nice. Before we continue with this, let's see what Ubud Atinkosi is saying. She's one of my favorite soloists. I want to know, how can we help those who want to become or to be in those platforms? Akuzo yena. So, how do we help the young ones who aspire to be where you are? That's what Ubud Ati is asking.
You know what is difficult right now is that my first thing that I would say is go to school, get the education. You know, there's so many things that happen in the opera world where you cannot really function well if you did not go to school, if you did not learn. There are some of the people, my colleagues, that, you know, have managed to go straight there, but I think the easier path is going to school and learning all, you know, getting all the skills that you can get and then be able to get to where I am. I'm still at school, so, you know, trying to increase my knowledge and experiences, you know, but it gets difficult when I go back and think that back home in South Africa, we are so blessed with so many amazing voices, and these voices don't have work. So I kind of feel like a hypocrite when I say go to school when I know how hard it is at the end of the day to get to where I am, where you have to knock in so many doors, work so hard, you know, to be able to get the money, to be able to get the funding to go study somewhere else, you know, where you can be recognized and be great.
I guess it also takes a willing heart, you know, to take that path, because it comes with a lot of work, a lot of disappointments, a lot of rejection here and there. But if you want it, you go for it, because fair enough, the information is there. Like you were saying, you have to go to school. Fortunately, I know Mr. Atigoniwe. He's one of the choir conductors here in South Africa. So these are the people who nurture these voices from the young ages, from school to community choirs. So if they have the information, they'll be able to, as conductors, you know, to inspire the young ones. Thank you so much for that response. Let me give you a break. Just drink some water and we are going to listen to you.
Okay.
Where art thou? Where is this thing? an aria from Phelalani Mnomiya's operas Yankomo, Tingiphileleni. They're performed by Goitsemang, Lehobye. Someone is appreciating the conversation, and thank you for joining us. There's a question for you. What is the most challenging or difficult thing you find about your profession? This one is a scientist, and he says he knows little about opera. So,
the most challenging thing about my profession is opening yourself up, giving yourself to the people, and hoping that people will feel, will like, will appreciate, what you do, because it's a very big thing to open up yourself for people. You become in this vulnerable state where you are just like, hey, I'm naked here, take me. And it's like a constant struggle with, is it enough? Are people receiving it? And are they liking it? And how do I feel if they don't like it? Because, you can't be liked by everybody. So that is what I find the most difficult.
That's true. And I mean, learning all these different roles that require different characters and emotions, where you have to make it believable that this is who you are at this very moment. So now I get you. I think Kileuchile was speaking about, in this comment, there would be no work for blacks. Back to what we were talking about in terms of roles, if the role requires a white person, then only white people must perform there. If it's for a black, then only black voices must be there. I think this is what she was referring to.
She's right about that.
Maybe
we always have that conversation because we love our Verdis and our Puccinis so much, and we don't have anything against, if given an opportunity to do an opera at home, A Blood of Mine, Princess Magogo, it's great, but it's like you relate to the story as you relate to the story when it's Verdi, because of you are not that person and you are being asked to assume that character. So you get that opportunity to do the same, whether you're telling your story or whether you're telling their story. Are you there?
Today the internet.
I guess we lost you again.
The internet is fighting me. But I'm back. I'm not giving up. At all.
I don't.
Please, there's a question again. I know Goitsemang very well as the singer and the soloist of GC. I just want to ask her, what are the highlights in GC and Black Tie? That is Mr. Mandla Kala.
Mr. Mandla, my Black Tie highlights were singing my first professional role. Black Tie offered us an opportunity to do so many things. It introduced me to so many things that I didn't know. I am who I am today because of that Niels Hansen, Susan, that kept on, working with us. So singing my first professional role, The Merry Widow by Lehar, was my Black Tie highlight. And my Gauteng Choristers highlight, it's always great to be with Gauteng Choristers, but I remember the gala we did some year, their second gala, not their first one, because their first one I was not with them yet. But that second gala was something amazing. But also being able to perform with them in the States last year, where they came and joined the Minnesota Chorale with the Minnesota Orchestra to do a work together. That was just so amazing to be with my people in this foreign place, you know, singing our music and singing their music, and just, you know, that proves that music is just really a universal language.
Speaking of Gauteng choristers, you are one of the few professional singers who keep going back to your choir. We know there are professional singers who no longer perform or sing with their choirs. I don't know what the problem is, but what is so different about the Gauteng choristers that is not happening actually in other choirs, where you find singers not wanting to go back to sing with that choir?
I cannot speak for other choirs because I'm not there and I don't know. I have just been able to go back to Gauteng choristers because I am so much inspired by Sidwell Mhlongo, the conductor, and I just love his thinking about music, his way of working with music, you know, and the respect that he has for me as much as I have the respect for him. Where sometimes I sit and I'm like, I don't know as much as you know, maestro, but you know, there's so much respect back and forth, and that's how I keep going. You know, it's always, I also love music, making music in community. So that offers me that place to be able to make music in community. And I still feel like I still sing like myself. Because in my journey of trying to sing in choirs, I struggled a lot with the comment that your voice is too big, your voice is too big. It doesn't blend, you know. And when I got to Gauteng choristers, that changed because I did not feel like I was special in a bad way. You know, I was just special because of I was special, like everybody else is special, and we all sang, and it was great. We made very good music together. And so I think that's how I keep going back.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And big up to Sido, because I've had singing teachers, you know, not wanting their singers to go back to choirs, because sometimes we push these voices, you know, to a point where when they return back to school, then the voice has changed in some way or the other. So big up to Gauteng choristers and other choirs who are still able to do this. There's another comment from Uvu Sicham. It's a question. Let me see if we can bring it up for you.
I can see it.
Yes. Any plans of establishing a foundation and raise funds for a Black-owned opera company in South Africa? It's a good one.
It is. It's a good one, and it's a difficult one too. It's something that I'm thinking about. It's something that's in my heart. At the present moment, I don't have everything that I need to be able to make that happen, you know, as I'm still trying to establish myself I'm still really working on myself at the moment, but it's something that I'm thinking about because, you know, I feel like opera suffers a lot back home, or it's not supported. Also because, you know, I believe we need Black philanthropists, you know. If we had our own people, I had a conversation the other day with Professor Khan, and I'm like, if we had our own people, Black people that support us, you know, that have money, that are able to help us in this journey, then things would be better for us, you know. So it's something that I intend to look at once I feel like I have what it takes, because I think it's a big thing, and I think it's really, really important with a number of the theaters we have and the quality of voices that we possess.
That's true. And Undwa is back, because this is not my conversation with you alone. He's asking about your views and aspirations on making an input or sort of becoming a catalyst into the development of youth who aspire to become opera singers. I believe we need more mentorship from professionals in Mzansi. What are your views on this one?
We definitely need mentorship, and that's why when I am home and I have the time, I've been to a few places with Tumi Ramonti, the pianist, where we went to school. I try and go back to schools and help out. If I'm home, I always try to go. I'm home in the summer when there's no corona this time. And so I always try to go to school and help out while Saskia is going on, and inspire and train these kids, and show them the way. So it's also something that I'm very passionate about because I think I don't like to teach, but I really enjoy what I do. And with the little bit of information and experience that I get from people, my professors, I would like to share it with my own people too, so that they know, they understand. And if one chooses to go into this career path, they understand exactly what it takes. They know that it's not the glitz and glamour and nothing else. It's hard work, a lot of hard work, a lot of lonely days and nights, not having gigs, not having money, and things like that. So we need more mentorship. Also, we need, to have those kids that we can take under our wings and say, hey, this is beautiful. I try build up as many people as I can that, because I know I was once in that position where I was built up. And when I say to somebody, I mean, you sound great, you must do this, you should do that, and I see them succeed, go elsewhere, then I feel so happy and fulfilled.
I'd love to add something on what you've just said. It's good, when someone like you and many other professional singers who are both here at home and abroad, when they want to come back on, when they are on holiday, they come and go to townships, help schools, this and this and that. It's all good. But I also believe this has to be coordinated at a higher level as well. If you're talking about school kids, the Department of Education is actually the one that is running that program. And if that program is one of the important outreach programs of the department, then that should be part of the programs that we have. Goitsemang and many others who came through, some of them came through that project, who are now based in overseas, that we can actually get back, maybe for a week, to run workshops, in addition to what opera companies like the Cape Town Opera are doing, with that national tour, helping the kids. Also, the Department of Arts and Culture as well. If this is part of our heritage and we love it, then this has to be coordinated better. It mustn't be now your own thing, to come back and assist, but it can go a longer way, if there was involvement of these departments. Yeah. So we have actually come to the end of the conversation. But before you go, and before my network does these funny things again, I'm interested in this one. You are in America at the time of the Black Lives Matter movement, and you are from South Africa. Of course, race talks, you're no stranger to that. You're a South African, I mean, so you know it already. But what has been your experience, being a South African, Black South African in America at this time of Black Lives Matter?
It's been rough. This situation is nothing new to me as a person that comes from South Africa. We know we have dealt with racism and apartheid system, and so this Black Lives Matter thing is not new. It's just so scary and so sad, that it's happening. But the Black Lives movement, what I like about it is that they're trying to help build Black communities up, and unfortunately sometimes it's mistaken for Black people wanting to be special or whatever. But it's really true that some systems that are have been given to Black people are not fair. So it's been an awkward time, because when I came, I thought, as many of my friends said to me, you are better, you're going to the States. You've got people that look like you there, so life is going to be easier than us in Europe, where you see a Black person after 10 minutes, or 2 hours. And I was like, yeah, it's going to be great. I'm just going to get there and blend in. And then I realized that once I got here, that things are really, really deep. The issues are more complex, or they seem more complex to me, because maybe at home I'm just used to it now, because that's what I've been living. And I actually expected an escape. I thought I was going to somewhere better. Meanwhile, I got to something, I was just like, oh, okay, I guess it's not better, it's the same. And so it's really been an experience to experience that.
I find it very interesting, to hear you speaking about finding people who look like you. But I think most people don't see the importance of that. I remember in one of the conversations I had, one of the young ladies, Ufense Piti, who is an orchestra conductor. And she said when she first discovered the orchestra, one thing that struck her was like, okay, so where are the people who look like me in this whole setup? Because everyone was white in the orchestra. And that drove her into starting an orchestra that has Black people in it. And I guess it's like that in many other sectors. So hearing you speaking about it, that someone was saying, no, you are better off because when you got to America, you will see a lot of Black people who look like you, even if they're not from South Africa, but at least you will see people that look like you. And I guess that also applies to opera as well, that at some point we need to get more and more stories about our people, stories that we can relate to. Not that there's anything wrong with the other ones that we've been listening to, like you said. So thank you so much, Goitsemang. Thank you for joining us. Everyone that wants to follow her on Facebook at Goitsemang Lehobye, and she also has a fan page at www.goitsemang.lehobye, on Instagram at hois.soprano. Twitter, she is Munju Girl. Maybe she'll tell you about the Munju Girl issue.
Thank you, Maestro. Okay. I can tell you, Munjugel has been my nickname since I was young. Only a few select people call me Munjugel because they know Munjugel, but it's my nickname from home when I was young.
What does it mean?
I think it had to do something with a person being a girl. It was like a Tswana person thinking Munju is like Muntu, a person who is a girl. So it's like Munjugel.
Okay, that's interesting.
I know.
And thank you so much. Thank you so much for spending your morning with us. It's afternoon here at home, but thank you so much for allowing us into your space. We know a little better about you now, but not everything. So when I ask you again, I hope you will agree to come back. And I promise maybe when you come back, I won't be kicked out from my own stream. This is embarrassing. Imagine, it has never happened. I don't know what happened today. So Kilebukhile wanted to ask about Munjuga.
Now she knows.
Now she knows.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much, Michael, for having me. It's been a pleasure sharing my life story with you and some of the people. And you are right, they don't know half of the story. So if we get a chance to do it again, I would love to be back here.
Thank you so much for that commitment, and thank you so much to everyone that joined us and those that commented and asked questions. And once again, I must apologize for the network glitches. I don't know what happened today. I've changed nothing. I'm still using the same network internet I was using before, but it just decided to act up today. I guess that is the life we are subjected to these days. So thank you so much. I will see you guys on Thursday on the choir hour at 7 o'clock, whereby we catch up with one choir and find out what is it that they're doing, what are they up to, what are their plans going forward, because I want to see many choirs, getting back to life, even if it's through these kinds of streams and just planning for the future. We can't be in hiding forever. So thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you on Thursday.